Dumelang bakgaitsho, I'm Tebogo Tinti, and I am here to talk about some things. So we have had a difficult week last week where we saw the internet turn purple. We saw the streets turn black with women saying enough is enough, with women, children, and men saying enough is enough. And indeed, enough is enough. And we are saying that the government should assist us, and we did it so loudly when the world was watching us. And I think the timing was perfect because we needed that attention. But now we also need to tell the government how we want them to help us. We are not mentioning the laws. We are not mentioning the justice. We keep saying the justice is failing. We need to make it clear that there should be no bail for perpetrators because it does not help anyone when a victim opens a case. A victim is violated today. Tomorrow they open a case. The next day they see the perpetrator roaming the streets. And I think there's a video that we all saw, if not all, but most of us saw, that has been doing the rounds where a woman who had her daughter violated was then bragged upon by a woman who is the mother of the perpetrator. As women, we need to have a serious conversation about that fact. And in fact, this is now the time to talk to women. And as much as we need the government to help us, they can only do so much. There are so many prisons that are waiting to house our perpetrators, but we don't allow them to take them because we protect them. What is the point of us keep saying when we keep saying women needs safety, women needs security, women needs to not be harmed and hit and unalived, but we protect and house those perpetrators? We can't expect the government to raise our kids. It should start at home. We can't expect the government to parent our children. We should parent our children. And I'm talking from the point of view of being a mother of a son. God forbid my son be involved in something like that. I know how impossible it will be for me to say, I'm turning you into the hands of the state, but I need to. I would need to. As women, we keep saying men hurt us, men hit us, men unalive us. As mothers, we wear black and we put on purple scarves or purple t-shirts and say enough is enough and no to violence ing. But you have a perpetrator in your house. You feed them. As women, you are married to these people. We protect them. How is the violence going to end? Because I feel like I need that question answered. These men hurt us because they can, and because there are no real repercussions when they do these things. For example, the gentleman who not the gentleman, what am I saying? The monster that was involved in unaliving that lady that was just going on a date. He called his mother. His mother gave him the getaway car. The monster that had charged the lady, he called his mother, and his mother assisted in discarding the body, the remains. The monster that the woman was talking about on the video, he lives in his mother's house. It is not ridiculous to say and think that we women are enabling these monsters to carry on the way that they do. Yes, we want the government to do something, to put on harsher sentences, to put measures into place that make it difficult for these monsters to be able to roam the streets. But if a child knows that if they do something, they don't have a place to live anymore, then they might just consider not doing it. But if they know that their mothers will go to battle for them, what is going to stop them? And we keep also blaming poverty and unemployment. We need to stop that. And I'm not saying poverty and unemployment is not a real thing, but it is not the motivating factor for people to do these kinds of things. When you do a lifestyle audit, when you take stock of the lives that these people live, you realize how they are getting by. The man who unalived the lady that went to the post office had a job. He was working at the post office. And he was a convict. But he had a job. So he was not poor. He was not living in abject poverty. The people that commit these crimes are not living in abject poverty. So we cannot keep blaming the government to say, yeah, 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 ing, ing. They can only be blamed so much, but they cannot raise our kids. As women, we are failing to raise our kids. And when they go out in the street and become monsters, we still protect them and hide them and still fail to instill discipline in them and still fail to make sure that they get the punishment that they deserve for the crimes that they've committed. So when another woman goes and cries and says, this woman's child did this to my child, we as women still sit there and listen and still do nothing. Amongst our communities, we live amongst women who have done worse things. And we know them by name. We know their addresses. We see them at community meetings all the time. We see them in family reunions. So, to end gender based violence and femicide, we women have to do different. I cannot even speak to the man because I don't speak man. I don't know how to speak the language of the man. But we women, they hurt us because they have us because we give ourselves to them. And I'm not victim blaming, especially in the case of the post office, in the case of running at a park, in the case of going hiking, in the case of I'm not victim blaming at all, not in the least. But everything begins in the household. The crimes and the lack of discipline and these horrible behaviors of men begin in the home. These boys need to know. They need to have system. They need to know that if my mom hears about this, I'm not going to live to see another day in the daylight. Or if I even think about doing this, I might as well dig my own grave. And I know there are going to be people who have very many different opinions on this matter, but this is mine. And you're allowed to have your own. And there will be people who say, oh, it's easier for you to say. It might be easier for me to say, but we are now looking at solutions. We have so many problems that we don't have solutions to. And then when we do take stock, it all boils down to the households, to where these kids grew up, how these kids grew up, who their parents are, how they were raised. Yes, you can teach a child a certain way and they will go out in the street and still embarrass you. Matter why protect them? Sure, kids will embarrass you, but why protect them? Is my question. How do you harbor a fugitive? All in the name of, oh, he's my son. The government has an address for them. They will house them. We can go besoek. We can go visit. I'm not saying abandon your children. Hand them over to the state. I get we want the state to do something about these issues. So when our kids become criminals, let's hand them over to the state so they can house them. We will go visit them at their new addresses. I mean, as a woman, to look at another woman's pain and still say, oh, my demon, that nerve. As women, we are on our own, and it's us against our kids, and it's us against our perpetrators. And we need to keep fighting.